What's up, everyone? It's Brian from the Exact IT Solutions YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today, where I'm going to educate you on cybersecurity and bring you up to date on current events and recent ransomware attacks. There's a lot of them to cover today, so I want to get into that very quickly. But please remember, if you like anything on our channel today and you think the information that I am putting out is valuable, I just ask that you hit that like button. It helps other people find this content. It has nothing to do with me. When you hit that like button, YouTube puts it up higher in the search results and makes it more of a chance that somebody's going to find this content just like you did and be educated just like you're going to be educated today. So I thank you. And if at any chance, if anything you hear in this video that you would like to know more about, or you're just wondering what your situation's like at your business, or you are an employee at a company and you hear me talking about things that you don't think are happening in your company, share my video with the people in your company who make these decisions. And if you do make these decisions, head over to our website. We will help you with this stuff. Right on our homepage, there's a form where you can fill out to request a 15-minute strategy session with a cybersecurity expert who will go through what your business is going through and give you sound advice on where you should take the next steps to start securing your business. Some of you don't even spend any money on cybersecurity and have no idea what you should really be spending. And if that's you, I'd urge you to hop on one of these calls and get educated about your business and how much you should be spending based on your total revenue and the industry you're in and other factors that we look at to figure this out for companies. And you can get all of that right on our website at xitx.com. Head over there. But without further ado, I'm going to jump into today's content and start talking about all these ransomware attacks, everything that's going on over at Kia, and all the attacks that happened this week. So here we go. All right, so the first one that I have up on the screen here, folks, is I actually talked about this group before. I don't know if it was this exact breach that I mentioned, but this payment processor was hit, automatic funds transfer service. But why I wanted to bring it back up and highlight it again today is because who it affected, right? This is another supply chain attack. And a supply chain attack is when somebody else gets attacked in the process and then it affects other individuals or entire groups of people or organizations. And in this case, this company provided funds transfer services or payment processing services to a lot of local and state governments. One of those was the California Department of Motor Vehicles. Another one was a lot of cities in the state of Washington, like Seattle and Redmond. And just think about the companies that are in those locations. And the information that was accessed were things like banking transactions, balance sheets of companies, tax documents, and things like that. So we're not talking about just basic information here, folks. We're talking about pretty sensitive information about transactions that are probably not public. And while some of these companies may be public, a lot of them aren't going to be public. They're going to be private. Tax bills that you're paying as private citizens, your information is now stolen. Your information is now out there in somebody's hands who could potentially take that information and turn around and put it on the dark web and sell it and use it to either perpetrate further attacks or use it to try to scam you in some way, shape, or form. So up on the screen, I have it, and there's, I'll just go through quickly to let everyone know who was actually affected. As I mentioned, California DMV, Kirkland, Washington, Linwood, Washington, Monroe, Washington, Redmond, Washington, Seattle, Washington, the Lakewood Water District, and the Port of Everett. And these are all in 2 states, and I don't know what other states this company did business with, but this is what we know about today. So be on the lookout from your city or state to see if they send you a notification about this event and that your information may have been compromised. So it's really unclear at this point. how many individuals have been impacted, but we're talking about the California Department of Motor Vehicles, and there's a lot of people and drivers in California. So we're talking about tens of millions of people, maybe, I don't even want to think about it, but there's a lot of people in those two states. So moving right along, Kia, I have a whole video on Kia that I did. I'll put a card up right here where I'm talking so you can get to that if you want to watch it. But this is a major misstep by Kia, in my opinion. And here's kind of the high level summary of what the heck is going on and why I want to kind of revisit this and highlight a couple of things that you can learn from the missteps that Kia is making here. Now, if you just go to my YouTube channel and go to my Kia video, you will go in the comment section and you can see all of the comments of people who were affected either on the customer side or an employee of Kia. A lot of the service people have been speaking up because as we know, in a dealership, when your car doesn't work, you're kind of hard on the service people who need to fix your car. You're not going to yell at a sales manager for not selling you a car, or not being able to sell you a car. But when your car breaks and you're paying decent money for that car and you can't get that car fixed, it's a very frustrating situation. If you head over to that video and look at the comments, you're going to see how frustrated these people are. But the first thing I want to point out is that Kia is essentially denying that this is even happening, which is absolutely insane at this point. It really brings into question the cyber resiliency of this company, and whether or not they were really spending the money required to do cybersecurity the right way, especially for this size company. We could find out in a few months here that they knew, just like we saw with Capital One when they got hacked, and months later, after an investigation was done, it was determined that they were woefully neglecting their cybersecurity practices to the point where people, the CEO and other people around him, were let go by the board. And you could probably see, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting that we're going to see the CEO, at least of Kia North America. Now, I've heard reports that this has gone further than Kia America, that it's extended into South Korea and things like that. So don't really know what the real situation is, because they're being tight-lipped and they're basically denying that this is even happening, even though there's information being leaked on the dark web by the people who hacked them. And there are enough social media posts, accounts, comments from employees and customers that express their frustration with this event and their inability to be able to get things done, like their job, get their car serviced, or even buy or lease a car. There was a lot of people in the middle of the process of buying or leasing a car from Kia when this event went down, and from my understanding, they have not been able to move any cars. So this is going to be a huge event for Kia. There's going to be a lot of fallout. But the important thing for you to take away from this event is the collateral damage, or the unforeseen costs, or whatever you want to label it. But there are things that you are never going to consider when a cyber attack goes down, like all your customers being annoyed with you and upset. Obviously there's the public relations piece of it, which I don't think people fully understand the breadth and depth of what that needs to cover. It's not just hiring somebody to kind of say, hey, no, we weren't ransomware attack, which is clearly the PR strategy of Kia here. But it's more about, what are you going to do when your employees don't want to work for your company anymore because you make their life stressful and miserable? What are you going to do when customers don't trust you anymore with their data? What's Kia Financial going to do when people are afraid to give that social security number or give that, paycheck information when they're applying for a lease or a car loan from Kia Financial? There's going to be impact to that side of their business as well as just selling cars, which, this has been going on for well over a week. So these are the things that you need to consider as a business owner, as a CEO, when you're looking at how much you're spending on cybersecurity, that when you're thinking to yourself, we're not going to add that much to cybersecurity in the budget this year, think about Kia and what they're going through and the $20 million ransom that they're being, basically slammed in their face or punched in their face. As I said in my video the other day, a lot of companies are going to get punched in the face this year and realize that they have to spend a lot more on cybersecurity than they've ever spent. There are benchmarks for different industries and different companies. If you're interested, as I said in the top of the video, you can go over to our website at xitx.com. If you want to hire us to help you figure this stuff out, this is what we do. This is how we help companies. We help them start putting cybersecurity plans in place for their businesses so they don't end up like Kia with a $20 million ransom demand, can't sell cars, can't lease cars, can't, take cash for cars. They can't even move them off the lot, and they can't service any of the cars that they've sold in the past because all of their computer systems are locked up and nobody can do any work. They're trying to muddle along on paper and do things like we saw when hospitals get hit. They move to paper and things seem to move on, but it doesn't seem like Kia has a similar plan in place like the hospitals did based on reporting and comments from customers and employees. So I hope they get out of this okay, but it's not looking too great at this point. So moving right along, I dug up this article from Sequoia Capital, who does a lot of security writing, and I do follow her and everybody who writes over at infosecurity-magazine.com. It's infosecurity-magazine.com. But essentially, in this article, she highlights a study done by Trend Micro, and basically they evaluated all the attacks and traffic that went through their system, that their system evaluated and either blocked or what have you, and their data shows that the activity. So think of it like this. Maybe poor analogy, but think of every time a hacker tries to get into a computer, sends a spam email to try to get you to trick you to click on it, a phishing email. Think of that as like a bullet, a shot to try to get at your company, and they have a lot of ammunition and they're taking a lot of shots, and some of the things that we need to think about is taking away the ammunition so they don't fire shots. So that's one way we can combat this from a global standpoint. But the article basically, the amount of ammunition that they fired in 2020 was 20% higher than 2019, to the tune of 62.2 billion shots. That averages out to be 119,000 cyber threat attempts per minute. So the big thing is phishing attempts, is spam. That's the number one thing that's going on, and it probably does skew that number to the high side. And even though a phishing attempt doesn't seem as severe as a real hack where somebody's breaking into a firewall or embedding malware into somebody else's software like we saw with SolarWinds, these are all different ways that people can get in, and it doesn't really matter if it's a low-level threat or a high-level threat. If the end result is they gain access to something that they shouldn't, then at the end of the day, they're the successful ones, and they're taking 119,000 shots every minute at individuals and businesses around the world. And when I start my videos, you guys see, I put up this threat map, right? And real quickly, this is the Bitdefender threat map. And real quickly, these are all the shots. And right over here above that shoulder over there, you see the attack type, and you see attack, infection, spam, attack, infection, spam. And you see it going down. You see the attack country. You see the target country, meaning where it originated from and where it goes to. As you can see, the United States, if I move out of the way, you're going to see United States go up here, right up here. You're going to see United States a lot, and a lot of MAs, and you're going to see a lot of other countries attacking the United States. So that is pretty common. We see most of the attacks go in the United States. If you look at my little map above, you see a lot of that is hitting around the Washington, D.C., New York area. That's the I-95 corridor, and that's where a lot of human beings and businesses live and work. So it's not surprising to see that, but look at all the different places it's coming from and concentrating, in certain areas. And quite frankly, the one that you see in the middle of the country that's kind of hitting in the middle, the dead middle, that's just because we don't know exactly where the traffic's going. And then you have Washington and, right around LA, are big areas that get hit. And then you see little dots pop up all over the place, but it's constant. And this is real, folks. Like, these are real attacks and infections and attempts to get into people's systems. And what these can lead to is things like this over at Sequoia Capital, which, Sequoia Capital is a big venture capital firm. And what happened is somebody at their company fell for a phishing attempt. In that process, the hacker was able to gain control of the individual's email account. Now, Sequoia Capital is one of the largest and most successful VC firms in the world. They back companies like Airbnb, DoorDash, and Robinhood, and it is also invested in cybersecurity firms like FireEye and Carbon Black. So two, big cybersecurity firms. I know FireEye is public. I'm not sure about Carbon Black. I believe they are, but I'm not sure. So anyway, Sequoia's investors are university endowments, tech executives, and charitable foundations. So it means that these people give money to Sequoia to invest in these businesses. And now, it doesn't specify who or what the role was at the company who got their email exposed. But it really begs the question of, like, who was it? And was it somebody on the donor side? Was it somebody on the investor side? Was it somebody in the middle who kind of sees both? So you can see how much money a donor is giving, or you can see how much a company is getting from a VC standpoint, or you can potentially see future deals that are going down and then, invest in stocks or sell stocks. And, there's a lot of things that can happen with these types of events. And it's really important to make sure that your company has a good cybersecurity awareness training program, because technology can block a lot of phishing attempts, but it can't block them all. They change their tactics. There's a very good Adobe Acrobat phishing attempt going around the internet right now that's getting through spam filters and ending up in people's inboxes. And the only way to combat that, there's no technology that's going to stop these things. You have to train your employees on how to look at this stuff, how to analyze it before they act upon it, before they open it, before they click it, before they allow images to be downloaded into their Outlook window. All these things can lead to a hacker getting more information about his target. And these are things you should be training your employees on so they don't aid in your company getting hacked. It's very important. We've created videos on this channel on how to effectively deploy cyber awareness training to your employees, and the ways that work and the ways that don't work. So I'll link to that video somewhere in a card around where I'm speaking. So hopefully you'll find it. If you want to check that out, I highly encourage you to, because there is a right way and there is a wrong way to deliver security awareness training, and we know how to deliver it the right way so it's effective, it's efficient, and it doesn't, take away from the company, being able to function, because we're not pulling people out of the workday for a day for a workshop and things like that. So, last one I'm going to cover today, folks, is the UL Laboratories got hit with ransomware. Now, UL Laboratories is, if you've ever seen that emblem right there, the UL one, it's on the floor of the building there. It's basically a certifying body that there's standards, and there's safety standards and sustainability standards that UL has developed along with the government. And when companies create products, pretty much anything that gets plugged into a wall, they usually go after a UL certification. And that basically, in a nutshell, means that when you plug something in, it's not going to cause a fire in your house. And it's, the expectation is that it's going to last a certain period of time. And it's not going to be something that you buy and in 6 months you got to use it or plug it in and it doesn't work. But basically anything that uses batteries or electricities will have this emblem on it, as you can see in the picture here. And they were hit with ransomware. So, well, they probably do a great job at what they do, which is evaluating products for the things that I mentioned and making sure that they adhere to those standards. It doesn't sound like they did such a great job at cybersecurity if they got hit with ransomware. I would imagine that there's a lot of companies that are trying to get certifications that's going to be delayed, which is going to delay new products hitting the market down the road. So this is how all this stuff impacts it. But just like this company has a system for evaluating products and standards, there are cybersecurity companies out there like ours that can do the same thing to benchmark your company against cybersecurity standards and give you a kind of like a grade, a pass or fail. We give a risk score when we do ours. This, just like they practice here, and companies who sell products that you plug in or use electricity want to have this seal. I see in the future companies getting a seal for cybersecurity, like somebody saying like, yes, they adhere to a cybersecurity process and system or framework, as we call it. And this is something interesting here, that this company got ransomware, and they do such a great job with evaluating the standards of products from a safety and sustainability standpoint, but they didn't do a great job with the cybersecurity, as I mentioned. And if they bring in a company that specializes in doing what they do for products, but they specialize in doing that for cybersecurity, they're gonna be a lot better off. And I think a lot of companies should heed this advice. Get somebody's stamp of approval that you do cybersecurity the right way. Don't just bury your head in the sand. Don't just assume that somebody else has you covered and you don't really know. Because at the end of the day, the CEO is the one responsible for cybersecurity. They're the ones that need to own the problem. They're the ones that need to provide the strategy and solutions to solve the problem and make sure that they're protecting their clients' data. So that's going to be it for me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the content. I am going to be putting out more videos around this stuff, as you can see. So if there's anything that you would like me to talk about, please drop it in the comments below. As I said, if you need help with any of this, you can hire a professional. You can head over to our website if you want to hire us at xitx.com. There's a form right on the homepage that you can fill out to kick that process off of working with us. But keep yourself protected. Watch my other videos on the channel. Like this video. It helps other people find our content, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more content like this. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the other side. Take care. Have a great day.